7:45, the doctor is in on this Monday morning, working on understanding measles as it's become a headline over the past couple of weeks. Dr. Mel Krajden from the BC Centre for Disease Control Public Health Laboratory joining us. Welcome to you.
Good morning, Riaz.
As we look at all of these cases that have been reported about measles, what is it that makes it such an infectious agent that we're finding more and more cases?
So measles is a virus, which means that it has to actually grow in a cell, a human cell. It's related to a disease that's been eliminated, related to cattle, and actually was recognized back in the 7th or 9th century as a clinical illness. And the importance is that it's very, very infectious. And when you get measles, essentially you'll get a fever, you'll get teary eyes, runny nose, cough, sometimes some spots in your mouth. And then you can get a rash, and that rash goes from your neck down. And the importance is that you're sitting there, and if I had measles, if you hadn't had it before or you weren't immunized, you would get infected. It is incredibly infectious. So for every single person who gets it, if they're not immunized, about 9 to 18 other people will get it, and they'll spread it, and it'll increase dramatically. So prior to the development of vaccines, you would have millions of people getting measles, and then you'd have millions of deaths from measles.
Like, how does this so-called outbreak of what we have today compare to instances we've seen in the past, especially here in BC?
So this outbreak, we've had about 16 cases, and it's fairly minor. And the reason it's minor is an important concept called herd immunity. So with measles, if you can immunize somewhere in the range of 90–95% of the population, it means that not only will you not get measles, but you won't spread it to your producer or your cameraman. And that's a very important concept. So if you can immunize and maintain the immunity in the population in the range of 90–95%, you can prevent significant measles outbreaks because the bulk of the population is protected.
What about when you talk about protection, the idea that someone that is infected with measles being in a public space, how long can that virus live in that public space once they've left so we know it's safe to return?
So basically measles is spread both by little droplets, and when you cough, it's also spread by aerosols. And typically, they say that it'll last for about 2 hours, but it's being in that space. Like, you're not very far from me. If I had measles, you would get it. And so the important thing is that if you're in a public space and you're not protected, you're at risk of getting it.
And the effectiveness of the vaccinations for those that choose to get them, how effective are these given what we've seen with the advancements in science today?
Usually with 2 doses, the effectiveness is in the range of 95 to greater percentage. So it's not 100%, but it can be up to 99%. It really depends on how many doses you've had and the age at which you got the doses.
And for people that have had doses in the past and maybe they're unsure of did they get 1, did they get 2, is it advisable to get a booster even if you've had 2 to go for 3 for safety?
Well, it's important to know that the vaccine is measles, mumps, and rubella. And so it actually protects you not only against measles, but it protects you against rubella. And I'll give you an example. So rubella, it causes a rash as well, but in pregnant women, it can cause what's called a congenital illness. And that can actually damage the unborn fetus, causing cardiac disease. It can cause ocular disease, and it can cause neurological disease. So that gets prevented. And then it can also prevent you against mumps. So mumps causes swelling of your salivary glands, and you end up looking like a chipmunk because your salivary glands blow up, and sometimes can cause infertility. So not only will you protect the person against measles, but you're going to protect them against rubella, mumps, and measles.
A lot of factors to consider. The website for resources online, immunizebc.ca. Doctor, appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break.